Alright guys, I took some days to think about what's going on here with Kazuya and Smash, and now I think I'm ready to finally talk about it. The very first point I really want to nail down here is that even if you're not a fan of Tekken or the character of Kazuya, and you don't think he looks cool or whatever, there's at least some good news here, and that is that the fan rule of if a game is already represented by a Mii fighter, then it doesn't matter. Heihachi came out as a Mii fighter during the first character of Fighter Pass 2. It came out for Amendment. And I always thought, oh, well, I guess Heihachi is with her because she's a fighting game character. There is always a reason. There's always like something that makes sense. But this is one of the biggest curveballs that Sakurai has ever thrown. There's never been a time where he's like, yes, this plus Tekken, or like Smash plus Tekken, whatever, and then boom, Tekken later. That has never happened. The fact that Heihachi was not saved till later was almost pretty much just to throw us all off of the trail. And it's kind of crazy that they even did that, because you would think that Heihachi would just be saved for Kazuya, which makes me have to assume we're probably going to get a lot of Namco Mii fighters, because there must be so much that we don't get to get Heihachi now. Or maybe there's a different Heihachi Mii fighter of like a different costume, because Heihachi has worn more than just that one costume. That's also the young version of Heihachi from Tekken 1, he re-gets that appearance again in Tekken Tag Tournament 2 as like a little throwback to Tekken 1. But Heihachi really only looks like that in Tekken 1 and Tekken Tag 2, so it's weird. It's weird that Smash includes that version, but I mean, what can you do? At least we have Heihachi, but I'm assuming we're going to get Jin and other characters now too. But in my opinion, this is really huge for two characters in specific, and that's Rayman and Doomslayer, because with Rayman, they already did some Ubisoft Mii costumes with Altair and the Rabbids, and now you would think that they wouldn't have done that unless they were going to do Rayman, but hey man, I don't see why they can't do Rayman anymore. And not only that, but Vault Boy is another character that you would really think they would save if they're going to do the Doomslayer. You think they'd just do Vault Boy later. Nope. Fucking nope. Here he is. Like, there's possibility that we could even get Doomslayer, and that's a big deal. The fact that Doomslayer is just as high up there as some people like to think he is. For me personally, I always thought, nah, they'd probably save Vault Boy for him. Nope. Take that fan rule and shove it in the ground, because we don't follow that fan rule anymore. Seriously, Heihachi is from Tekken. That's not just a Namco character. And there's been a lot of Namco Mii fighters who've appeared randomly throughout, especially Fighter Pass 2, but even during Fighter Pass 1, there's been some Namco characters here and there. You would think they would wait and do the Namco characters for the Namco character, but they didn't. This even gives Capcom some hope, though I really would like to think Capcom doesn't get another character, because that way I could help me narrow down what the heck the character's going to be. But at this point, just because a character has content in the game already, doesn't mean you can count them out just yet. There's still a huge possibility we could get a lot of different characters here. So honestly, while this does deconfirm the Namco characters, really the only ones, because we were already not thinking Tekken thanks to Heihachi not deconfirming Kazuya, but we thought it did. Because of that, we were already kind of suspecting that maybe the Tales of would get a character. Maybe the Tales of series would get a character, or possibly even Dark Souls, which was seemed kind of outlandish, but it never was like outside the realm of possibility. But maybe. But now we can definitively say that the last character is probably not going to be Namco Bandai, and Kazuya is going to be the Namco Bandai character, which always makes sense. I mean, Tekken is their most popular franchise. It's even bigger than Pac-Man, but Pac-Man's like probably the most iconic, so it makes sense to go with Pac-Man and then do Tekken. I have a theory. The reason why we got Kazuya now and not earlier is because Tekken really deserved to be in Smash the whole time, but I think that once Sakurai decided he was going to do both Terry and Kazuya, it makes more sense to do Terry first. And that's because Terry is way more comparable to Ryu and Ken. Fatal Fury and King of Fighters both feature like quarter forward punch to do a command input, or quarter back kick to do another move. They both have input moves like that. Tekken doesn't really have that. I know people online keep calling Kazuya a Shoto character, and really Terry's not a Shoto character. And I know there's a big argument going on, but I don't care. I'm just saying. The reason why people call Terry one was because he's at least comparable to Ryu because they both have like projectiles and they both have like a rising punch. They both have the same motion to do Shoryuken for Ryu and Ken is Shoryuken, and then but if you do the same motion, that forward to quarter forward, for Terry in his native game, he actually does rising tackle in a lot of the games. But in Smash, you do hold down, and then hit up to do rising tackle, which is kind of cool because it's a reference to a lot of fighting games. A lot of characters, including Chun-Li and Guile, are like that. But then when you have Terry, if you do the quarter forward kick, that's typically how you do power dunk, which is like the bread and butter. So in Smash, if you want to do the actual command inputs, you don't want to just hit down B or up B at the end of your combo. You hit A, and then you do the Dragon Punch input, and that's how you do a Shoryuken or power dunk. That's how you end your combo. That's your bread and butter in Smash. So Ryu, Ken, and Terry all have that same motion you want to do when you're doing your combos, and that's how you can get a lot of kills with Ken and Terry especially. Even Ryu can get some kills that way, depending on certain percentage. So doing fighting that way is really important. Kazuya is not going to play like them, so Kazuya is going to be the most way different. So what I'm saying is, like, some people call Terry a Shoto just because, even though he's not a Shoto in his native game, they call him a Shoto just because he fights similar to Ryu and Ken in Smash. In Smash, yes. In Capcom vs. SNK, I wouldn't say Terry fights similar to Ryu and Ken. However, in Smash, yes. Smash, he totally does. And saying he's like another form of Ryu and Ken, I understand why people say that, because in Smash, he's totally based off that. But in with this character, with Kazuya in Tekken, I don't think he's going to play anything like that, mainly because he's not going to have any input moves. He doesn't have quarter forward punch shoots a Hadouken. That's not how Tekken works. Tekken doesn't have that shit. Tekken is all about using the 4 face buttons to do 2 different punches and 2 different kicks and make them work to do combos. And every character has like these pre-little made combos, and you got to figure them out and know when to use them, and know how to use your poking tools, and know how to use your quick tools that let you get in and whatever, or your strong tools, your tools that where you dodge and then do a big punch and stuff, which Kazuya has a lot of that stuff too. So Kazuya is a really great character to put in Smash, and this is the other point I wanted to hammer home, aside from why I think they saved Kazuya for later, because in my opinion, Kazuya is way bigger than Terry. I think Tekken is way bigger than King of Fighters. However, King of Fighters is coming back strong right now. King of Fighters is definitely a very fan-beloved game, and people are really excited for King of Fighters 15, so I'm not shitting on Terry. In fact, I love King of Fighters. I love SNK. In fact, honestly, I think King of Fighters is... I mean, I think I like Street Fighter more, but because I'm a 2D fighting game fan, I adore the King of Fighters games, and I mean, I would rather play those than many other 3D fighters. So I'd probably still rather play it than Tekken, but that doesn't mean I don't like Tekken. I like Tekken a lot, and I grew up with Tekken. Tekken's like... That was like some of my earliest fighting game memories are Street Fighter, Tekken, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So when it comes to Kazuya, I really do think that Sakurai knew he was going to do Kazuya, but wanted to wait till after Terry because Kazuya was going to be fucking crazy, and he didn't want to do 2 fighting game characters in the same fighting pass. So he's like, I'll just wait. And if you look, Terry and Kazuya were done at the same time. They're both done like right before the final character. So it's kind of funny how that worked. So, I mean, I couldn't be any happier though, because honestly, I love fighting games, so getting more fighting game content in Smash is a good thing. And I'm happy to see Kazuya here. I think Kazuya's a badass character. For a long time, he was my favorite character in Tekken. He still is up there for me. I think I like playing as Jin a little bit more, but I even like playing as Heihachi. My thing is, I like the whole family trio thing, and honestly, I want to keep going. The next reason I want to hammer home with Kazuya is I think they picked him over Heihachi and over Jin because of the devil form. I know a lot of people might say, well, duh, of course. But the thing is that I didn't consider that they would do that, because the way you use the devil form in Tekken is not as, like, you don't use it that often, you know? Like, yes, you use it in battle, but not, like, to the extent where you're using it constantly. So to me, when I think Kazuya, well, I do think the devil form is a big part of his lore. There's like a 3D movie of Tekken where Jin and Kazuya both fight in their devil forms and stuff like that. And yeah, Kazuya's devil form is very important, and they made that, like, in Tekken 7 for the story mode, you have to fight Devil Kazuya, and that's really cool that, like, Heihachi has to, like, kill his son in devil form. That's such a cool thing. But I really thought Heihachi was going to be the character, and that's because especially in Tekken 7, Heihachi is sort of like the main hero of Tekken 7. And Heihachi is never really the protagonist role. Usually Heihachi is straight up just a villain. And Tekken 7 they did this thing where actually Heihachi, when he tried to kill Kazuya as a little boy, it's because he had to, because Kazuya has the devil gene. However, Kazuya survived because, again, he has the devil gene. And so, you know, and of course in Tekken 2, Kazuya gets the devil gene like fully powered up and blah blah blah. And then you get to meet Jin, and Jin has the devil gene within him as well. And then in 4, Kazuya and Jin are really trying to like ape each other on, and Kazuya's trying to get Jin to unleash his devil form and stuff like that. And you know, it's really cool. But the thing is, Jin has devil form just like Heihachi, or sorry, just like Kazuya. Heihachi does not have devil form. But what's cool about Jin is that Jin is sort of like Ryu in the fact that there's a Dark Ryu, but Dark Ryu and Ryu are never the same character. Like, Ryu doesn't like tap into his dark form mid-battle. Instead, Dark Ryu is usually like an alternate version of Ryu who did succumb to the Dark Hado, and just like how Akuma fights with his Dark Hado, this Dark Ryu fights with the Dark Hado. So Ryu is always like two different characters. Now it's not even Dark Ryu anymore. Now it's referred to as Kage. So Kage is his own character, but again, it's always like there's an evil version of Ryu that's a separate character. Jin's the same way. There's always, I think Tekken 5 was the first one to do this, where you could actually play as Devil Jin himself. But yes, Devil Jin is his own character. He has nothing to do with Jin. I mean, like, they're the same character, but while Jin can like access his devil form, it's never in the game. He always does that during like cutscenes or something. It's never like in the game he just turns into Devil Jin. So Devil Jin is like it's his own thing. That's always how it is. And so Kazuya is different though. Kazuya actually, just like in Smash, he does turn to his devil form mid-battle. Like, you can just turn to devil form while fighting. Especially when you that rage move, when Kazuya's glowing red, there's a moment where he grabs Incineroar, flies up into the air, and slams him to the ground. And that is straight up one of the moves you have in Tekken 7. But you can only do it when you have your rage form. So what's interesting about this character is that he's going to have a demon form and a rage form, because demon form is exclusive to Kazuya and the rage form is a mechanic in Tekken. So if they ever did another Tekken character, it would be very likely they would also include the rage form, similar to how Kin also has the focus attack, just like Ryu. Because any other Tekken character will probably have the rage form, but they won't have, like, if they put Jin in, Jin could also potentially turn to Devil Jin. But that's just not going to happen. Like, because Devil Jin is his own character. It's different from regular Jin. So this is a really cool idea for Kazuya to have a Devil Kazuya that's like part of his moveset, and it's part of him powering up. So I would love to see... honestly, I have no idea how Kazuya's going to play. It's very confusing to me just watching the trailer. He looks like he has too many moves. I want to make the assumption that like his jab will be his like 1-1-2 punch, where he does like, you know, two of the same punch and then like a third one where he uses his other arm. I want to assume that's what's going to be, that's going to be his jab combo, but like, it's so hard to tell. There's so many different punches going on, which makes you think there's going to be a lot of different directions. Maybe depending on if you hit it, if you just tap it or if you hold it, he'll do different things. So, and some of those attacks have to be his B moves, because we didn't see any of his special moves yet. But I doubt that. I doubt we haven't seen any of his special moves yet. We definitely have seen his special moves. One of them is most likely that like spinning kick move, and there's probably different things you can do. Like maybe if you press B at the end or A at the end, different things will happen. He did his uppercut move, and it looks like he did like the dash into crouch into the uppercut. So this character might be really, really complicated and very different from many other Smash characters. We don't know yet. We'll have to see. We also haven't seen much of him in the air yet. We haven't seen what he, like, we've seen his down air, like when he jumps, does his down air. He has a fast falling down air. But we haven't seen a lot of how he even moves in the air. So it's kind of tricky. You know, we have to see more of him in the Sakurai Presents of what we're going to get. But I think the devil form is a big part of why we're getting him in Smash. Now, when you think of the main protagonist of Tekken, most people would probably agree it's actually Jin and not Kazuya. Kazuya is really only the main protagonist of like 2 of the games, and that would be Tekken 1 and Tekken 4. And after that, I don't really know what his position is in most of these games. He's just sort of like another side character who just happens to be evil. Him and Heihachi are both villains, but what I love about Tekken is that the 2 villains are just fighting each other at all times. Jin is also not like a pure-hearted, perfect person, but he is definitely more aligned in the good guy side of things. He sometimes when it seems like he's being a bad guy, it's actually for a good reason. Though Tekken 6's story is kind of hard to follow. But yeah, in Tekken 3, 4, and 5, he's pretty much a good guy still. He's not corrupted by power like his father is. And Heihachi is not really corrupted by power either, but he's just sort of like a bad motherfucker that thinks he's the strongest. So I don't know, maybe he is corrupted by power, it's hard to tell. But Kazuya is definitely like corrupted by like the devil gene. You know, that definitely has fucked him up for life. Kazuya is a really just badass character, and I love having another villain in Smash. You know, Sephiroth was another villain, and now we have Kazuya as another villain. So it's really cool just having more bad guys. It's also cool to have a bad guy from a game that's like not Street Fighter. Like instead of putting Akuma in, which would be weird if we already have Ryukin and then put Akuma in, or someone like Bison, or even like Geese from King of Fighters or something. It's good to have a character who's like a bad guy from a fighting game that's not from Street Fighter or King of Fighters, because now we have more representation from other fighting games, and we have more bad guy characters. So it's going to be really fun for Kazuya to fight against Ryu, and you know he's going to fight against Ryu in the classic mode. It's just at what point. I'm very curious to see what Kazuya's classic mode will be like. Is it going to be just like Ryu's, where Kazuya is mostly doing one-on-one fights in stamina mode, and the characters are all based off of Tekken characters? Because, hey, I'd be totally fine with that. I have no problem with that. Honestly, Ryu's classic mode is probably my favorite in the game, and Terry's is right up there because I love the King of Fighters style of like 3 characters. But I would love it if Kazuya did something different. Like maybe his game, the battles progress in order of like the actual Tekken games. So maybe you'll have to actually do like a tag match later on. That would be really cool. Maybe like Ryu's your partner or Ken's your partner or something. That way it represents. Actually, you know what's funny is someone pointing out how Namco Cross Capcom. Sorry, that is the PS2 SRPG. That's not what I meant to say. I'm sorry. What's it called? Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Now, Street Fighter Cross Tekken featured Ryu, Ken, Pac-Man, Mega Man, and Kazuya all in the same game, and all 5 of those characters are now in Smash. It's really interesting the fact that Mega Man and Pac-Man were both in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and now they're both in Smash. I always thought that was so funny how like Mega Man, Pac-Man. I remember when Pac-Man came out, when Pac-Man was announced, because Mega Man was announced already too. And it was like, we can finally have the real Mega Man versus the real Pac-Man, unlike Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where they had like this fake-ass version of both characters. So it's really cool to see like we could do the real battle between Ryu and Mega Man versus Kazuya and Pac-Man. And I'm hoping that's a battle in Kazuya's classic mode, because that would be really cool. But yeah, and also like they could do like, for Paul, you probably have to fight Ken. I'm trying to think of like what characters for Law you have to fight, probably like Captain Falcon or something. Man, there's a lot of cool ideas they could do for characters. So I mean, anything could happen here. I can't wait for the Mii costumes. I can't wait for the spirit events and see what the spirits are. We all know the music from Tekken is bumping, so there's gonna be some cool songs. I am excited because I think some of the Mii costumes might be characters from Soul Calibur. Think about it. You can't just do a bunch of brawlers for Mii fighters. You got to have some sword fighters and some gunners in there. So I could easily see them doing some characters like from Soul Calibur in the sword character position. And that would be really cool to have either Siegfried or Nightmare or Yoshimitsu or Mitsurugi. Those would all be really cool choices. So I guess Ivy would probably look really weird in as a Mii fighter, so they'll probably skip Ivy. If they can't do Mai, they definitely can't do Ivy. Ivy's way worse than Mai. So yeah, but there's a lot of cool ideas that Namco Bandai could do for Mii fighters, and that's where things get really excited, because I'm assuming they have to have a lot, because why else would Heihachi be done earlier and not saved for Tekken? You know, that's such a weird throw off. I can't believe they did that. Either way, very excited for this character. Huge Tekken fan, huge fighting game fan in general. Kazuya is one of my favorite characters in Tekken. Even when he's not my favorite character of that particular game, just the fact that he's going to be in the game is just splendid to me. He seriously is one of my favorite characters. I just love the whole bloodline between Heihachi, Kazuya, and Jin. I love that three-man character dynamic. I love that it's a grandfather, father, and son who are just like always battling each other. I love that they always try to kill each other. I love that Heihachi and Kazuya always throw each other off of cliffs. I love that stuff. I love that Heihachi blasted them off into the on a rocket ship into space. Like, I love that they always try to kill each other in such horrific ways. I'm really excited for everything involving this character being introduced. Cannot wait. I can't wait. So that's all I have to say here. I will be making like a tier list style video for like what I think the final character might possibly be, where I'm going to narrow down some choices. Like I said, I think Doomslayer and Rayman actually have a chance now, though I think Rayman you can still kind of count out because I don't know why they would save him for, like, I don't know. I think we had that, like, Papa Cheetos was talking about how Rayman's most likely not going to be the character because he has a Ubisoft insider who said that it's not Rayman, but it could be Rayman still. Rayman could be the very final character, and how cool would that be? Because Rayman was like that first speculated leak character for Smash 4. Like after Mewtwo, we thought the first character we would get after Mewtwo was Rayman, and it turned out to be a fake leak. But everyone got so excited for the possibility. Rayman has had trophies in Smash 4, and he had spirits in Smash Ultimate. There isn't that many Rayman spirits. They could easily do a Rayman stage with Rayman music. I mean, Rayman has a chance, and part of me would even want him more than Crash Bandicoot, just because I think Rayman would have a more interesting moveset. And it's not like Rayman doesn't deserve it. It's not like Ubisoft doesn't deserve it, so why not? Why not do Rayman? But I kind of think that the more hype final character would be like Doomslayer. I think Doomslayer would be the most hype final character. But also, if you look at Fighter Pass 1, there's a lot of similarities with Fighter Pass 2. We had if you count Min Min and Piranha Plant as the same thing, they're both like this Nintendo character that started everything off. Then we get, if you skip Joker, we get the Square Enix character. Then if you skip, I guess Steve is kind of there too, but Steve is sort of like the character who is like the Microsoft character. So the Microsoft character and the Square Enix character are out of order, but that's not a big deal. We got both Square Enix and Microsoft right next to each other. Then we got we have the anime sword fighter character that's from Nintendo, like Byleth and Pyra Mythra, who are both from a JRPG game. So, and now we have a fighter in both passes. We have a fighter in both passes. So there's a lot of similarities here. The one character that I don't see the connection for so far is Joker. He's the only one who doesn't really have a corresponding character similar to everyone else. Now, Joker, what is special about him, we don't know yet because we have to see what the other character is to see what the theme is, right? But from what I'm understanding, it seems like what's special about Joker is like he's a character that no one saw coming, that we thought wasn't even possible. And he's also a character who is from, like, Sega. He's from Sega / Atlas, though most people count him as a Sega rep. So maybe another Sega character? Well, there's not too many more Sega characters we could really reliably count on here. We're not sure. But, I mean, so there was that Phantasy Star Online leak. However, I think it also mentioned that like Crash would be one of the characters, and that's just, or was it Ryu Hayabusa or something? That's not going to happen. The other thing that's relevant about Joker is that he's a more modern character. He's a character from like a game that's not too old. Like, yes, Persona 4 came out on the PS4, and it came out like the year the Switch came out. I think it came out like 3 or 4 years ago. However, there's people who are still playing Persona 5 for the first time. There's people who have just now played Persona 5 very recently. So, I'm just saying, especially with the year that Smash came out, it was kind of a relatively new game. It was kind of a recent game. So it's very possible that this last character could be from a more recent game. And this is something that I know Papa Gino's and like Push Dustin and some people have been talking about online, where they're thinking the last character might be a more relevant character, because that way Smash ends on a character that people will make think Smash is like has new characters in it. And they have a point, because Corrin and Bayonetta were definitely newer characters, and that's how Smash 4 ended. And when you look at the first season of Smash Ultimate, definitely ended with a newer character with Byleth. Incineroar was a newer character at the time when Ultimate came out. So I mean, there's a lot of logic behind that idea, and also that would be the most corresponding with Joker. So either a Sega character who's newer or something, I don't know, but it's hard to pinpoint what it might be. To be honest, I still think Ryu Hayabusa has a super strong chance, but I've been saying this since Joker's reveal, and we're on the final character, so it makes me nervous. It makes me not want to push the idea of Ryu Hayabusa that hard. So I don't know, maybe we have enough sword characters. Maybe Kazuya is proof we don't need another sword character. I don't know, but we'll just have to see who the final character is. Either way, that's enough rambling for you guys now. I'll end this one here. I'll see you guys on the next one.